Hi guys, in today's video I'll be talking about the gameplay basics of Splinterlands NFT game. I'll not be getting into too advanced or complicated strategies. I'll be covering the basic gameplay guidelines and strategies which will be useful for someone who's just getting started with the game or planning to start playing it shortly. This is a NFT card-based game, so you'll have to slowly start building your cards, and the more cards you have, the stronger would be your team, and the higher the chances of your winning. And this is not strictly a pay-to-earn game because when you create an account with them and purchase the starter pack worth about $10, you would also be given a set of starter cards across the different elements which you'll be fighting for, and you'll have two options. Either you can be patient and slowly keep playing through the free cards and collect more cards as you win and strengthen your team. But if you want to speeden up the process so you can advance faster, you also have the option to purchase cards directly from the marketplace and not wait for your earnings to accumulate from the winnings on the game to start collecting the cards. But either way, keep in mind that only invest whatever you afford to lose. Don't invest beyond your means because, like all crypto-based investment, this is also NFT-based game. I'm really bullish on this long term, but always do your research uh, before you decide to invest any money in this game. So let's start with the which are the basic factors which you need to keep in mind when you start playing this game. First of all, you'll have to decide what kind of cards you want to purchase and what kind of cards you need in your team to start building it up. So when you look at the website's landing page, there will be two icons. This plus sign would take you to the market where you can purchase new cards, and this deck of cards shows which are the cards you currently purchase. So when I click here, I'll be able to see which all cards I currently purchase. And here I have the option to filter. Playable means which are the cards I can play with, and I can also filter by which of the cards I personally own, which are the cards which were rented out to me, because in the marketplace I have two options, either to purchase or to rent it for a limited time. And delegated also means if any of my friend has shared the card for me for a limited time, this would show under delegated. And also, like I mentioned earlier, that whenever you create an account, you would be given a set of free cards which you can use to play, but you will not be owning. It will have this S mark, and when you hover over it, it will say that it's a starter card. So you don't purchase this card, but you can use it to play till you are able to accumulate sufficient number of cards. So the most important factor here would be how many cards you own, because these are the ones which are yours, and this will be marked on blockchain as the cards owned by your account. And this will give you higher rewards whenever you play and win while using these cards. The first factor when you need to consider while reviewing what kind of cards you have, how to build your team, is here under role. In role, you will see two roles, monsters and summoners. So at high level, summoners would be something like a leader of your group, which controls the whole deck you'll prepared for while playing a particular card. And as you can see that I currently have like one or two summoners for each one, because this you don't need to have a wide variety. You should have at least one summoner sufficiently leveled up. So whenever you select a particular element, you should be able to keep a summoner. Here, one thing you need to keep in mind early from your gameplay uh, days is that you should first level up your summoners and then your monsters. So let me talk briefly about what leveling up means. So whenever you click on a particular card, you'll be able to see the details, what level it is at, what benefits it will give to all your cards. Whatever increase you see here, for example, this says +1 speed, +1 armor. So this whatever the summoner provides, it will be given and placed on the whole team. So all the cards you select. And this means what will be the cost while creating a team. And looking at if you decide to purchase your summoners, if you don't want to wait sufficient time to collect sufficient number of summoner cards, you'll have to look at this stats table. Here it will say that at what level of your summoner, what is the highest basic or common monster you can have, rare, epic, and legendary. So it is very important to first level up your summoner and then level up your monster cards. The reason is that if you level up your monsters first and you have not leveled up your summoner, you will not be able to use them because there's a limit. For example, if I have a level 8 common monster, but my summoner is at level 2, then I'll have the stats only for level 3. I'll not get the full benefits of the cards I'm using. Okay. Next, you can look at which are the monsters you have, and then here you will be able to see the different monsters across the different elements, and you'll see different types. Each card would have different specification. This one would be the mana cost, about how much it will cost you to put this card in your team. And whenever you start a new battle, you will be able to see what is the limit of mana on that battle. So you'll have to carefully balance out while selecting cards which have a sufficient high statistics of attack compared to the mana they're using. For example, you'll see different symbols here, like this one, which is like a round axe, it is called melee, and this attack can only be used in the first position. This one, which looks like an arrow, it's called a ranged attack, and this could be done from a distance. This monster will not be able to fight from the first position unless it has a special ability. And the third type of attack is something called a magic, which you see. The advantage of magic is that it can work from the first position as well as the from the end position, and it can bypass the armor. For example, for each player you might see health, and some will have additional armor as well. While melee and ranged will first hit the armor and then go to the health, the magic attack would hit directly to the health. It would bypass the armor. So it is quite useful. So you'll have to create a balanced team with different kind of monsters across the different elements. Other thing is that you would see that here there are 7 elements. 5 of them are basic elements like fire, water, earth, life, and death. And dragon is a like a bonus element. When you select dragon, you will be able to choose one more basic element, and when you create a team, you will be able to place both of these cards. For example, I choose dragon and then I select earth. When I create my team, I can place both dragon as well as earth elements there. And the last one is called neutral. This is like a add-on cards. So whenever any neutral cards I have, they can be added to any of the team I create. So this would be extra. So for example, I choose dragon and then I put water. Then when the team I create, I can put dragon, water, and neutral as well. Okay. And if I select a basic element, if I select only fire, then I'll be able to place fire and neutral. These things would might seem a bit complicated during the initial days, but once you start playing, you'll soon get the hang of it. The next thing you need to keep in mind is whenever you go to the battle section, here you'll have two options for gameplay, wild and modern. Wild means you can use any card from the first batch released by Splinterlands till the latest one, but modern means you can only use cards which have been released during the last two sets or last two batches of the cards which were minted by Splinterlands. So depending on what kind of cards you have more, if you have more of old cards, you should select wild. But if you have more of new cards, you should play modern. And next, you need to consider league. As you play and win more and more, you'll start advancing through the leagues. So, for example, when you start playing, make a new account and start playing with a basic starter set, you will be at a novice level. Here, you will not receive any rewards. Then you go to bronze, then silver, gold, diamond, and the last one is the champion for the most advanced player. And currently, I'm moving from gold to diamond, but I'm planning to take some time before advancing from gold to diamond because what happens is the higher your league, the more difficult would be the competition because the opponents you will encounter there would have more advanced cards, and till you have a sufficiently leveled up and advanced deck of cards, you should not go to a higher level. So make sure that you are winning comfortably at a particular level and then advance to a higher level. And each league, like the silver gold, would be further divided into 3 levels, and that would have a separate requirements. For example, you should have a power level of all the cards you have, and it will also set a limit on which is the highest level of cards you can use. So keep that in mind while advancing from one level to another. For a beginner, who has just acquired some cards through the market, I would not advise to go beyond bronze and silver. Once you're comfortable here, then you should advance to gold. And gold is something you'll encounter advanced player with a good set of cards. So even when you acquire a good set of cards, play in gold for some time before you proceed to diamond, because in diamond it would have the upper level or the cream of the players which are with Splinterlands for a long time. They would have very advanced strategies to play, and they would also have a very advanced deck of cards. So keep the league details in mind before you start progressing across the different levels. Another thing you'll have to keep in mind is that whenever you start a battle, you would be able to see the play history of your opponent. In the play history, you would be able to see which element he has been selecting more frequently and what kind of cards he typically use. So this you need to keep in mind, because you will be able to assess that, if your player is using a lot of melee monsters, then you should put cards which have some sort of defensive or counter to melee. Similarly, if a monster is using a lot of magic monsters, then you should use cards which have special abilities. For example, this card has a ability called Void, which reduces the damage from magic attack. So keep in mind what kind of previous games your opponent has played and what kind of team he typically use. So use it while preparing your own team. And another important thing which I previously mentioned, that you need to sequence your team properly. Like I mentioned, there are three types of attacks: melee, ranged, and magic. So always put melee first, because melee typically always attacks from the first position. It will not be able to attack when it's in the back position unless it has a special ability. For example, this card says opportunity, that monster with opportunity can attack from any position. If it has a special ability, it can attack from any position. Otherwise, in most of the cases, the melee cannot attack from the back. It can only attack when it's in the first position. So typically, you should put a tank card in the with melee attack in the first position, which will have a high statistics and it can withstand a high amount of attack. The next position should be filled up by the monsters with magic attack, because, like I mentioned earlier, magic can attack even from the first position or the end position, and it attacks directly the health. But you should keep in mind that usually the monsters with magic attack would have a low health and armor. So you should make sure you protect them and not keep it in the first or second position. So they are well protected and not right at the front where they have to take most or brunt of the attack. And like I mentioned earlier, ranged attack should be the last in your line. They should be at the end because they'll not be able to attack from the first position. Okay, and you need to familiarize yourself about which are the different statistics each card has. For example, the first number it will have is the mana, how much it will cost to keep it in the game. Next would be the attack time and how much attack it would do to the opponent. The next one is speed. The higher the speed, the earlier the monster to attack. If I have three monster which have 1, 4, and 5, the monster with 5 speed will attack first, then 4, and the one with 1 will be the last to attack. Armor is the shield which will protect you from melee and range. First, the armor will be used up, and then your health will be affected. And last is the health. When your health of your card goes to 0, then this monster will die and it will be removed from the fight. So I'll just do one basic battle to show you all the basics which I explained. And currently I'm in gold, so gold 1, which is the highest tier of gold. So most of the fights here now I'm encountering are quite difficult for the cards I have. And just to give you a background how I normally arrange my teams. So like I mentioned earlier, that for me the most important thing is summoner, because it will decide what kind of team you have. So here you can see my summoner level is for water is 6, and for life is 6, and death as well as 6. So which is the highest limit for gold. So when I get one of these three, I am able to create a strong team. But as you can see, the rest of the summoners are at 4 or 3, or some are even lower. So when I get these kind of elements, I'm not able to create such a strong team. So this is something which is a bit of a luck, but if you play for a sufficiently long time and you have a good strategy, it will balance out. So my advice to you would be you should have strong teams for at least 3 to 4 elements. And so if you play sufficient number of times, on an average, you will be able to win quite significantly. So when I click on battle, it would randomly create a battle settings. So first thing I'll have to keep in mind is what kind of rules are in place of the fight. Because like you can see here, the rules of the fight is that neutral monsters cannot be used. Like I mentioned previously, that neutrals can be combined with any element, but here for this particular fight, they have mentioned I cannot use neutral. Mana cap is what is the maximum number of uh, element count which I can have. And here another thing you can use see is that they have made water inactive. So I cannot use water, I can use any other element. And I can see here that typically this my opponent uses water or earth element. So he has a strong magic attack from him. So I'll have to keep this in mind when I create my team. So when I create my team, what I'm going to do is I am going to keep a death one because death would give me a higher chance of countering magic attack. So I would place my legendary monsters in the beginning, followed up by more magic attacks to follow them. Okay, I'll put one of these. And as you can see, I'm not able to use any neutral, so I'll have to select all the monsters from this particular handset. And I just realized that, for example, I don't have sufficiently high mana count warriors, so I think for me it will be better if I go to life because otherwise I'll not be able to use up all the mana to have a sufficiently placed team. So what I will do is I'll use earth instead, and life I would try to place which are the strong warriors I have. And now I'm able to at least use a considerable part of that. And after I have assembled my team, I can click on battle and I can adjust the sequence as per the order I want. And when I go to battle, I'll be able to see the battle start. And like I mentioned, that my opponent, as I saw from the battle history, would choose a magic based attack, and he has used that. Okay, so when I click Rumble, I'll be able to see how the battle unfolds. And like I mentioned, the players which will have a higher speed, they will attack first. Okay, and here I'll have two options, either to see the full fight or I can skip to result. And here I can see that he used a lot of magic monsters and he had a summoner who could enhance the magic. I think it might be difficult for me to win this match, but let's see what the result is. Oh, I somehow still managed to win the fight. So here you can see Sam BTC, I was the winner. So it was maybe because my tank was quite strong and he was able to hold all the attack. And here I would see what kind of rewards I've won. Okay. I hope this video gives you a basic about the gameplay. I'll soon be making more videos to cover more advanced strategies on the gameplay. And if you have any doubts, if you've recently started playing the game, do let me know in the comments. Thank you.